Born in the Cascade Mountains, roads are dirt and trees are green. You can drive for hours, trees and streams are all you'll see.
Our tree farm is the Elmore Vance tree farm, and we're located in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. We're about 6 miles south of Randall. We ended up with this property when my dad purchased it in 1965. Then he started thinking about his family being owners in it, and he incorporated it into a family property where my brothers and I and mom and dad were co-owners. In 1980, my husband and I moved here. Kind of an interesting fact, we didn't have power. So we made our own power, and we did that for 17 years. My dad came and lived with us in the last years of his life, and he died in 1993. And when he passed on, the property moved on to my brother Bob and myself. This was a quarter section of land, and at the present time we have 148 acres that we own, and out of that 148 acres we have 122 acres that are actually in manageable forest land. Our trees are mainly native trees, Doug fir, cedar. We have, of course, the hardwoods, alder and maple. A big section of our property is wetlands. It's about a half-mile long between the Fish-Bearing Creek and the wetlands. We have about 4,000 cedars through our wetlands, and I just recently planted a new clear cut that we put in another 1,500 cedar. Well, this is a wildlife haven here. Our property is fully surrounded by old growth timber from the National Forest. As you'll see and you look around, we do have a big open pasture area, and the elk and the deer, they're here with their babies. You know, we have the cougar, we have the bear, all the birds, pileated woodpeckers. We've got 3 new bat boxes installed. Deer, elk, and bear have been our challenges. Our redwood cedars have been planted with coastal spruce, and that works. The deer and elk don't like that prickly spruce, but it's still rather challenging. They don't like Vexar tubes either. It's confining, and so these poor little cedar trees are stuck inside that prickly spruce, and no matter what you do, we kind of have to keep our trees in prison for 5 years no matter what. But I think that bear is a bigger challenge. Not on a regular basis, but boy, we lost half a stand. I had a 15-acre stand and we got bear into it. I wanted so badly to do a commercial thin on that stand, but with all the bear damage, we're just gonna clear cut it at 40 years old.
Home is where you make it, mine is colored Cascade green. Home is where you find it. These mountains are home to me, logging trucks and blacktail bucks. Cascade Mountains have a hold on me. They say home is where you find it. These mountains are home to me, logging trucks and blacktail bucks. Cascade Mountains have a hold on me.
I love the family being here, and I love the fact that we have a successional plan, and I think everybody's on board with that, and my 4th generation great niece is living in the cabin now.
It's just such a super special place for me, and I wrote a little poem. In the reflection of the mirror, I see myself most prominently. Behind me emerges all that came before. Logs lifted by my aunt's hardened hands, shelves sculpted by my mother's touch, creaking floors once danced upon by my grandparents' shoeless feet. A flower jar turned compost bin changing throughout the generations. If I look above me, past the mirror, and all that is reflected, I see a kitten's paw twitch with a dream. Against the curtains I sewed, hanging below the roof my great-grandfather built 50 years before me. On the mantle rests a photograph of my grandparents on their wedding day, leaning upon these very logs, and I think of the song 100-Year-Old Photograph. The lyrics play in my mind, lyrics that sang me to sleep as they touched my mother's lips each night before bed, no matter what home we were in, and there were many. And I wonder, might my own children, if I choose to have them, look upon this same photograph when it truly is 100 years old, under a roof their great-great-grandfather built, in a home dancing with all their ancestors, and think of the song I sang to them each night before bed.
One of the things I recognize is that my grandfather, who purchased the land 55 years ago, was a dreamer. And my aunt, who manages the land, Patty, she's a hard worker. And the gift to our family is that the rest of us get to enjoy the land. We do family campouts here. Every year it's a place the family comes together. We've actually had 3 family weddings here as well. Many people of the family live in the city. So to come out in nature and take walks and hike up to the top and see the panoramic view of endless trees, it's really, really a gift.
I guess when it comes to managing the land, I just see how good it feels to harvest the trees when they need to be harvested for the health of the land, and then you get to come back in and you put those baby trees up, and before you know it, you got this whole sea of green, and it's the cycle of life.